Okay, in this video we're going to use the power of if statements to make the Kung Fu Panda character web page we made earlier, make it come alive. So we're going to start off by getting some start code. We'll go here, of course, download zip, show in folder. I've got my F drive open here, CS10, JS programming, and let's extract it from the zip folder and bring it here. Beautiful. Got my open with code option, and I'll bring that over. Okay, so hopefully this is familiar. We've got our style sheet, our fonts, Kung Fu Panda characters, style sheet. Let's see what this looks like. Let's hit go live. Beautiful. Okay, so the idea here is what I'd like to do is I want to be able to type in, Viper, and hit search, and the picture will change, the name will change, the quote will change, and the link will change. Okay, and then if I type in crane or tigress or whatever, type in a character and it'll update the page. All right, so to do that, we will need to get this input element and test it, right, using if statements. If the input element is equal to Viper, do this. Else, if it's equal to this, do this, right? We want to select what code to run based on the input. Now, I wasn't thinking JavaScript when we first made this page with HTML and CSS, and we used all classes, but now we're going to want to use IDs possibly. So this class equals search. This is a class of one. We don't use search anywhere else. So I could easily make this an ID, and we'll have to make sure that in our style sheet, the search right there, we turn into an ID. Okay, so it should still look the same. Beautiful, the styles are still applied, but that allows me now in my JavaScript, which we need to make a file. Let's just call it main.js. And before I forget, at the end of our body, let's make sure that we load that JavaScript file we just made. So our script tag, source equals main.js. Okay, good. We'll do a title here, Kung Fu Panda lookup. And the first thing I want to do is I added an ID to that button because that's what's going to be our event, right? When the user clicks the button, that's going to fire our program. So event listener, document.get element by ID, search. And we'll add an event listener. When we click that button, we will do a character search, we'll call it. Remember, this is the name of the function that the event listener will call when this element is clicked, so we need to make that function. My event function, so define function, character search, open and close parentheses, open and close braces. Beautiful. Okay, first thing I need to do, let's think of the solution. That's what programming is, right? Algorithms. Think of the solution, the step-by-step solution, and then implement it with our programming language. So what do I want to do? I want to get input value. What character to look for, right? So we need to go to our input element right here, which has no class on it, but we need to give it an ID. ID equals input name, let's call it. Okay, input name. All right, that's fine. So here we will go let name be assigned document.get element by ID, input name, and remember we need to go dot value, not node value, dot value. Okay, so remember this selects the element with the ID, so document find the element with the ID input name, which is an input element. The dot value will get me the value of that input element, and I store it in a variable. Okay, now I will test the input variable and update the page. So if name is equal to, remember, not single equal sign, that's the assignment operator. Name is assigned this value. Now I want to check, I want to do a Boolean expression, right? If a Boolean expression is true, so if name is equal to tigress, let's say, then I want to do, right, so if brackets, the Boolean expression, and then open and close braces. And inside of here, we'll tab it, right, to make it clear where it starts and ends. Now I want to do, you know, update page to tigress. All right, how do I do that? Well, first, let's update the image. Here's the image. So again, let's give that an ID. ID equals main image. That sounds fine to me. And I can now go documents.get element by ID, main image, and I want to go .source, right? I want to change its source to be assigned. And inside of here, we've got images for all of the things. Tigress.png. Perfect. Tigress.png. Okay, before I add everything else, let's just make sure this works. So if I type in tigress and hit search, okay, well, it did something. That's good. So at least the event listener was working and something happened. I could check F12 here. Okay, so it gave me an error saying that it failed to load the resource, and probably just because, yeah, of course, images / right? These images are inside of that folder, so I need to go images / tigress. And then we should be okay. Yay! Okay, awesome. All right, now let's also update, hold on, let's check the HTML. The title, so this H2 says Po, we'll give that an ID equals, did I use name yet? Character name, let's do that. We'll save. So documents.get element by ID, character name, inner HTML is assigned tigress. Whoa, careful. Yeah, actually, let's do this. And this is going to give me an error, but let's try it anyway. So remember, inner HTML changes the inner HTML, what's inside of the H2 element, right? This character name is the H2 element. It'll change what its content is. Let's save that. And again, tigress, hit search. Uncaught reference error, tigress is not defined. Main.js line 15. Main.js line 15. Okay, so this is a common mistake too, right? I want the inner HTML to be the word tigress. But if I don't put quotes around it, JavaScript thinks this is a variable, right? Just like name is a variable. It's okay when I didn't have quotes here because name was a variable. And it says, oh, you've declared this variable right here and given it a value. I can look it up and test it. But here, there is no variable tigress. I want to put quotes around this and say I want the inner HTML to be the string tigress. Okay. And actually, I'm just thinking now, we could technically go name, because name is equal to tigress. They're the same thing. But whatever, that's fine. Okay, that's the name. Let's do the quote as well. Quote is right here. Now, that's a class again, but I don't think I use this class anywhere else. So let's change that to an ID. Quote. And in the style sheet, of course, we will need to change that to an ID. And then we can go documents.get element by ID, quote, and again the inner HTML is assigned. This is tigress. I think she's got that was pretty hardcore quote. Okay, that's awesome. And last but not least is the link here. Okay, let's just give this the ID wiki link. Right, that's my A tag, which says PoWiki. I want to change that. Document.get element by ID, wiki link, and I want to change what? I want to change what it says. So I'll change the inner HTML to say Tigris Wiki. I also want to change where it goes. Oops. So we'll select it again, and this time change its href to be something. I don't know what it is though. Let's just go here. We have the PO page. Let's go to characters, Tigris. Okay, and I'll just take that link. And I did hreg again, href, and paste. So the href of the link will become this, and we'll change the inner HTML so it says something different. That should be good. Okay, so we'll save that. Let's go to here. Tigris, hit search. Awesome. Image change, it says Tigris. That was pretty hardcore. And it now says Tigris Wiki and takes me to the further information on Tigris. Perfect. Okay, so this video hasn't been too much about if statements yet. I was hoping to do more. But this is a good start. We've updated our HTML to have the IDs in there so that we can select them with JavaScript. We've got this simple name equals Tigris, and it updates the page based on all those things. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, this should have maybe the double quotes on the inside, so that shows up as a quote. What else do I want to do? You know what? We need to get the other characters working, but before we do that, I'd like to do work on this Boolean expression here. Because what if someone typed in master Tigris, right? It wouldn't work. So what I can do is I can do a bigger Boolean expression, right? Remember we learned how we can use those logical operators and or? So I want to allow multiple entries here, right? So if name equals Tigris, or, so the double vertical lines, or name equals master Tigris. Okay, so now it should give me, and first of all, if I type nothing, right, this is a unary if statement. If this is true, it'll do this, otherwise it doesn't do anything, right? So I can type whatever I want, even if I type in crane, does nothing. But if I type in master Tigris now, boop, that will work as well. Okay, if I type in, let's just hit F5 to refresh the page. If I hit Tigris now, that still works, right? Either this can be true or this can be true. Now, common mistake that people make is they just do this. And they think it's kind of like math. If name equals Tigris or master Tigris, right? So you think it's this distributive property almost. If name equals this or this. What's interesting about this is that if you do it this way, this will always be true. So no matter what I type in, right, and I hit search, it is always true. And the reason for that is because remember an or, a logical operator or, connects Boolean expressions. So this is a Boolean expression, and this Boolean expression makes total sense. Does the name equal Tigris? But this is another Boolean expression. It's just the string Tigris, master Tigris. Okay, so is that true? Is it false? And it turns out that JavaScript basically treats, there's this Boolean operator that we can type things in. Like if I put hello into here, it treats the word hello as true. Okay, if I type the empty string, that will be false. Basically, JavaScript says any string is true except for the empty string. So when it sees this in the code, it knows, it says, oh, this is true. A string all by itself is going to be true. That's why we need to have that name equals. So it says, is this Boolean expression true, or is this Boolean expression true? And then it will work properly, right? I can type blah, blah, blah in, and it won't do anything. It has to be one of those two possibilities in order for it to update.